Yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous, Shogun. How on earth have Endpoint found themselves in the grand final after a season which has been, I would say, at best, on the cusp of acceptable? Not even, but given the fact that this team got third place in the Spring Series not too long ago, between Season 9 and Season X. But what an opportunity. There is a lot on the line here for Endpoint. Oh, what a start that could have been. A great opportunity on the center ball. But, you know, besides this match, besides taking down Vitality, besides getting a regional championship under their belt, they could also improve their seeding for the Fall Major by 2 spots with a win here. I think they're guaranteed at least 6th seed, but they'll move up to 4th ahead of Guild and Giants with a win over Vitality.
And for Vitality, it's all about the follow-up sentence from this tournament. Not just they beat BDS. They want that sentence to be they beat BDS on the way to the regional championship. Spoke about it numerous times this weekend about how K-Dub does not like to sit around in this position.
Oh,
he's not going to sit around before he passes this off to Alpha, who hits it with some gusto.
Yeah, not the best, not clear by Metza, but K-Dop's pass was phenomenal. K-Dop has really stepped up today. What a performance he's been putting in. And I think that's really, for me, the difference for Vitality. Alpha's been playing incredible Rocket League all season long. Fairy Peak is always such a smart, such a solid player. But, you know, K-Dop, he's the player in this team with the most experience, the most prize money, the most world championships under his belt. And he's starting to show why once again.
I do have to bring attention to it as well about how when you do look at professionalism in the scene, a lot of people will point to Vitality being one of the most professional. And when it comes to these long tournaments, these ones that can span across 4 days, Renault Vitality, they've been in this situation before. They've been to those World Championships where they've got to play 3 days in a row. There's K-Dop off the wall. Fairy Peak wanted to see if a mistake would happen from Metza, who was not forthcoming with it. But this is Renault Vitality playing exactly how they want to. Send one player in, cause as much hassle as possible, but Relating Wave, that was a fantastic play to get it past K-Dop. Should be able to take Fairy Peak out as well, so instead he has to leave it for Alpha. And finally, opportunity to try and transition. Metza lays it over to Virtuoso. This is a slow play. Fairy Peak's been waiting on this left wall for about 20 seconds now, and it finally comes in to not much.
That's still brilliant work from Relating Wave in defense. Able to take the ball past 2 Vitality players and then 50-50 with the last man. Ideal. And more of that would really give Endpoint a shot in this matchup. But, you know, it's not as impressive a prediction to make when Vitality already lead game 1 by a goal. But I think Gibbs might be right. A sweep, based on what we've seen so far from Vitality today, might be on the cards. And K-Dop, oh, he almost makes it too. It was a bit of a goalmouth scramble there. Alpha 54 was also in the vicinity. Look at this from Relating Wave. The Fairy Peak deflects in near the back wall. K-Dop with the follow-up clear. Endpoint are at least getting some looks at the Vitality goal now, although theirs is also being destroyed by these shots from Vitality.
I think if K-Dop didn't get that second touch, Alpha was there for it. They just had to leave it for him, but it can be very difficult when you're up next to it. And often you will find yourself just trusting yourself to put the ball in. 2 minutes left, Endpoint, get a good shot at this as K-Dop has to keep following it across the face of goal. Defensive version of what the offense was earlier, and Fairy Peak, as always, so smart, but he couldn't make contact. That does allow Endpoint to break through. Vitality would prefer to see this ball in the blue side of the field as we come towards the second half of this game. It's such a great power clear. Fairy Peak not wasting any time with any of this. For Endpoint, whilst the transition game has been good, we need to see what they're going to figure out in offense. That's something that should have probably been a pass to Virtuoso.
Yeah, if that was a pass to Vert, then I reckon that's a goal because the shot would have been unbelievably quick. But unfortunately, the passing did not connect for Endpoint. We did see one pass before that, just the second one was missing. Now Fairy Peak with the mind game. Oh, brilliant work by Relating Wave again to stay in the way of the ball. What a defensive monster he is. Virtuoso with a huge outplay. Is he going to get the ball past Fairy? No, he misses the boost steal as well. And you know, it's been a close call for a few occasions. But Vitality still holding on to this 1-goal lead. I'm impressed with Endpoint thus far, though. It hasn't been their absolute full force Virtuoso demo plays in the final third mode. But that's not what we're too used to seeing from them recently. They're trying to find the balance between that and full rotation. It's looking pretty good today. Mind game by Alpha. He's going to try and get a second one. At least I met says there.
That is always the scare, just how good Renault Vitality are at slowing the pace down. They only have to commit 1 player. You've got to commit 2, and you're losing time on it. Virtuoso can turn around here. Metza will be backing him up. Goes underneath, but K-Dop manages to drop the car quick enough. There we go. There's the first demo from Virtuoso. They're going to look to try and capitalize on this. Bounce back down. Relating Wave will do well from that angle. Couldn't get to it before Fairy Peak managed to respawn and get it away.
There's a nervous start to the game for Endpoint, but since then they've elevated their gameplay. Relating Wave's been unreal in defense, and Metza and Vert have been making plays in the final third, but Vitality are just that good. You can't afford to make a mistake early in the game like Metsonoris did. Poor clear, just gifting the ball to K-Dop, and of course he was able to pass it off to Alpha with no difficulty at all. I'm still pretty hopeful that we'll maybe get something out of Endpoint here. Going into this, I did kind of expect it to be a sweep, just because of the way that Renault Vitality were able to handle Guild with him out playing in the game one as well, and then also crushing BDS, their closest rivals and recent nemesis in the scene. Vitality probably already feel like they've won the final with that semi in the bag, and seeing that they only have to play against Endpoint. And I say only in the nicest possible way, because let's remember, we're comparing Endpoint to the team who have already won twice at this level in RLCS Season X, but BDS have been the best team in Europe. Vitality have already beaten them.
It's like comparing apples with a slightly sharper apple that's getting thrown at your heads. It's just, there's no such nice thing here when you talk about BDS and Renault Vitality. But for me, coming into this game, Johnny, it is all about them taking their time a little bit when trying to find that final pass, because it feels to me like when Endpoint are getting their transition plays going, they're doing well to get into the midfield, but they expect somebody from Renault Vitality to be on top of them almost immediately. So they're almost throwing the ball as quickly as they can without actually seeing where the play is, as we see Vitality putting some good pressure on to start off. Virtuoso again looks for the transition. Relating Wave called into action. Shepherds K-Dop over to the left-hand side of the field. This is the challenge game that Vitality want to be playing. They will squeeze Endpoint into this final third for as long as they can. Wait for the ball to trickle out to a shooting player.
Yeah, that's all very good, Shogun, but you'll need to tell me where I can find myself one of these sharp apples that you're talking about. Very interested to
From
see
Norfolk,
one of them.
mate. Well, our farming is very different to the rest of the world.
It sounds extremely dangerous, but I mean, we'll leave that for now. I'll have to find out more about that later. Endpoint haven't blundered in defense so far in this game. That's a promising fact. Oh, K-Dop has! Relating Wave makes it 1-0. And this is actually extremely similar to the goal that Endpoint conceded at the start of the last game. Just a very bad clear. K-Dop unable to get the ball to safety. It just bounces off the inside of the post, and it's wide open for Relating Wave to score.
Yeah, it's that panic play from K-Dop. He's got Fairy right behind him. Had a much better angle. Could have probably lofted it further as well. Instead, tried to get rid as quickly as he could. And that is the joy of this game, is that you don't get much time to communicate it. Metsonoris! Well, that's a little bit different.
Oh my goodness. Metza just paused for a second and then got a huge last touch on the ball that Alpha didn't expect. I mean, when you see the opponent falling that quickly, you really don't think that they're going to get a significant touch on the ball. Maybe just a glancing blow at best, but Metza with the air roll was really able to surprise Alpha just how hard he hit that ball. That's some brilliant defense on the back wall as well. A couple of touches from Metza. Knocks it away from danger. Now, this is where Endpoint just have to, I think, just turtle up a little bit. Not completely, but certainly just play a completely safe game from this point. You've got a 2-goal advantage against Vitality. Let's just make sure that we don't throw away any easy goals. No bad clears like we had in the last game, just going straight to a Vitality player.
And they do have the Vert option over there. If they can just send Virtuoso diving in for a clear, it's going to be very big. What a save. Relating Wave will keep it out. But if they can send Virtuoso when it returns on the rotation to the defense, he's going to have that chance there to almost catch Renault Vitality on the blind spot. And maybe take out their third man, slow down their play. They're not going to slow this down, as Metsonoris will again get in the way. So good play is being created so far by Renault Vitality, but each one of them read to perfection by the Endpoint defense.
Yeah, Vitality a couple times now went for the infield pass option, and both times it was intercepted by Endpoint. Interesting to note that K-Dop's also had a bit of a hard time with his back wall clears. Dumped another one down straight into the middle of the box just moments ago, and that was the shot for Endpoint. Every time that happens at this level, there's always going to be an opponent there to shoot it on target. This is kind of the same sort of thing for Vert, but at least he's able to fly after it and block most of the shooting angles. Less
I don't
than
think
half
I've
the
seen
game
Vert
to
on that
go.
final third in ages. He's just
You're talking about the defensive one or the or the offensive third?
Yes is the answer, no matter what. He is all over the place, stealing whatever mid-boost he can, see if he can at least get a hit, as Metzer tried to take out Fairy Peak on his way back. His Rain Wave almost found himself the double tap. Endpoint playing the situation to perfection so far. Coach will be very happy that they've not overextended just yet, as Metzer, you know, we've been talking about how there's almost a different side to Virtuoso lately. You know, we've got a game here where Metznaris has taken all the double taps. He's going for the air dribbles. And he's already scored one. And he's got another. If this is a new look Metznaris, I am all in for it.
Metzer just rolling back the seasons. Just absolutely slams Alpha into the net, letting the air dribble find its way through. 3-0 to Endpoint in the second game. That is a response and a half.
This has been perfection for Endpoint.
Oh, wow.
And Relating Wave has got it. And this is exactly what happened to Barca. You get caught a couple of times in Endpoint. They are not wasting their chances today. If you can say anything about them, it's that their shooting accuracy is on point.
Absolutely. And despite KDOT making an impact in the offense in game one, you know, defensively in this second game, largely disappointing by him. That's a whiff on the back wall. We've seen a couple of very weak clears. The first one leading to the opening goal of the game. This is definitely a recurring problem for Vitality. If Endpoint just keep hitting the ball into the danger area, funnily enough, Vitality look like the team in danger more than them. That's a good save. You know, it's close to being a goal there for Vitality, but at the same time, Endpoint have got pretty much all the goal covered with their keepers. Oh, big dunk for KDOP. It's going to hit the post, but a bit careless maybe for Endpoint to just chip the ball up into the middle like that.
I have really liked what Endpoint have done this game. No, Vitality probably have got a pace advantage on them, so they're not chasing the ball in defense. They are waiting for the crucial part of the play. You know, we talk about these sort of things all the time when the air dribble is starting to come back down to the floor, as we do see Virtuoso going up again. Is that 5?
Oh!
Somehow it's not. But you do get these crucial parts of each of these plays. When you're coming down on the air dribble, when you go for the infield pass and that ball is loose, those are the moments that Endpoint are waiting for defensively. And that is what they are trying to jump on top of so far in game 2. It has been the right decision to make, but the question will be, what will Renault Vitality do to respond in this best of 7? At the end of this game, it is 1 each. And game 3 is going to tell us an awful lot. Maybe Virtuoso can grab another. Unfortunately not.
Endpoint played brilliantly. We saw a few mistakes from Vitality defensively in this match, but overall, that was, I would say, just Endpoint earning it. They out-pressured Vitality. They outshot Vitality. They were able to score, well, 4 more goals. What more do you need to know about this one? But, you know, it's the way that these goals happen. We saw a huge outplay from Metznaris, air dribbling over the top of one and then just slamming Alpha into the net with a bump in front of the ball. Maybe I'd say first goal was mostly on Vitality. Second goal from Metza, and of course his air dribble later on, just entirely outplays. No real thing that Vitality could do to stop it. And when you've got Metza popping off, you've definitely got a new win condition, something that we haven't really seen from Endpoint a lot recently.
No, even in the tournaments that Metza has got his biggest results in, you know, you look at that second place at a World Championship back in Season 4, you look at the third place back in Season 5. Heck, Season 5 is a great example. He got that without even scoring a goal before they went into day 3. You know, that is not the Metznaris playstyle. That is not what you typically ask from him. But if he's going to turn around to you and say, hey, lads, I'm just sort of feeling like a couple of air dribble goals today, you're not going to turn around and say, you know what, please don't.
Yeah, everybody's going to just say, yes, please, thank you, Metznaris. Any more of those? You got any of those air dribbles? They were pretty nice in the last game. Oh my goodness, what a pinch by Virtuoso. We almost saw Metza get his first goal in this game as well, but unlike last game, KDOT was able to get the clear that he was needed to get. Otherwise, it would have been pretty free for Metza. You know, it's interesting to think about Metza's teams he's been on in the past. He's very often has to play that supporting role. He has to play the glue that just fills all the gaps because, you know, he had most of his success playing with a lot and Magnus, and a lot lives on the ceiling. So you need to be very, very careful with him on your team. But now he's actually being unleashed a bit more because Virtuoso's not staying upfield as much as he usually does. Like you mentioned earlier, he's now rotating back more often. He's still looking for those opportunities to get the physical game going, but not forcing it as much as he did at the start of the season.
No, and that is showing off just how versatile this team can be. Do you know Metzenaris was brought in with that intent? So for him to be the one that holds back as Alpha over the top and Relating Wave can't get to it. There's your difference maker right there.
Yeah, it was just too fast by Alpha. What a play. Metza, unlucky with that, bounced a little bit with how it kicked out to Alpha 54. But no time wasted by Alpha, transitioning from the ground straight into that top corner. I don't think Endpoint even did a bad job with their initial challenge. That was pretty good timing. They didn't waste any time. They got right out in Alpha's face to try and block him, but when you're playing against Alpha 54, you know, you can play the defense perfectly, and he still sometimes gets the goal on you.
I think everyone was expecting, you know, Alpha's just going to take a touch, he's going to set himself up, and Alpha was just route one as quick as he can possibly go, drag race to the top corner. That is going to lead to 1-0. Renault Vitality looking to bounce back after what was a bit of an embarrassing game 2 for them. One that they will be very unhappy with, but Metza just goes flying past. K-Dub was going to be nothing more than a spectator to that. Now Endpoint looking to press forward. Relating Wave and Metza trying to see if they can undo K-Dub, but K-Dub has been on this ball for a while now, unleashes it over to Alpha, goes for the double tap, and it's off the post! Almost dropped on it for a third one. And somewhere out there, the Rocket League gods are not too pleased, otherwise they would have gifted us that goal.
That was crazy. Alpha just kept on finding a new way to reach the ball a second time, a third time. Before that, Metza almost scored. I think if he had just a tiny bit more boost, he would have reached that aerial. He knew he had to go fast to it, but the boost ran out at the worst possible moment. Huge chances for both teams, but now it is an Endpoint opportunity. Relating Wave sideways to the play, still gets the goal, and look at the goal line. It's the usual suspect, Virtuoso, causing havoc, knocking Fairy Peak out of position, and leaving the net wide open.
And you can just see from Fairy's POV, he did such a good job just avoiding everything he could before turning his car back down. But he needed the support, and it just didn't turn up for him in time. Instead, it was all 3 members of Endpoint, and now we're back to 1 each. Gibbs was saying this will be a 4-0. This won't be easy for Renault Vitality. It's been anything but so far.
Oh my.
Nice.
What was that by K-Dub, though? Unbelievable touch. You saw the entire Endpoint defense were just like, wait a minute, back it up.
All right, we need what we needed was beast mode, following that one up for the double tap, and
oh, exactly.
Would have been perfect.
I mean, that was just crazy. The fact that he flew up to that and then clipped it perfectly, you really don't see that very often. We'll see those like crazy no-jump half-volley wall clears when there's a player just waiting on the wall for the ball to come to them. But K-Dub actually flew up into the exact position for that. That's a really, really good move.
Already up. Fairy has been looking around for a while. He's going to take his opportunity to move in. Couldn't quite win the challenge. And now Metza will go hunting for K-Dub. Alpha's trying to get back in time to help him out, but K-Dub again. He did look shaky in the last game, but every time Endpoint have tried to get the ball past him this game, he is holding them off so well. Although he does go flying past Fairy Peak, who wanted the infield pass instead. So a bit of a miscommunication there by the French team.
Oh.
These are not good clears, actually, from Endpoint. They're starting to fall apart here. And Fairy Peak will see you falling apart and rip your defense apart even further.
That's such a good reaction by Fairy. He saw Relating Wave committing to the wall and straight away drops the ball, decides that the flick is not worth it. Let's just go low. A massive mind game, puts Vitality in front. This is a phenomenal series. And I'll be honest with you guys, the grand finals of RLCS so far, not always been the best series of the day, but this one really could turn out to be if it keeps on delivering like it has. We've had a lot of one-sided ones, but Endpoint are really bringing the game to Vitality. They did push late in game 1, even though they were behind. They're going to try to do the same thing here. Free aerial from Virtuoso. He's put it wide, somewhere between a shot and a pass. Metza couldn't reach it.
Yeah, he just needed to make a much more conscious decision there. Instead, went through the middle. Ends up scoring a goal between his 2 options. Now Metza will find Relating Wave. He's actually got 2 players out here, but unfortunately for him, the last player is Fairy Peak. He'll buy some time for the team. Final 15 seconds. Metza's touch, not great. Offers up a bit of a freebie for Alpha. Now gets the pop that he wanted. Relating Wave gets it. If that was on target, that could have been a massive turning point in this game. Now they want the infield one more time. Virtuoso's desperate to keep this one off the floor. over to the wall. Fairy Peak's dictating the rules for this, and his rules say that it's game over.
Yeah, well played there at the end of the game by Fairy Peak. Yeah, of course, when you want to hit the ball into the ground on 0 seconds, the best way to do that is to make a dash actually up the wall towards the ceiling, because when you come off the ceiling with the ball next to you, you have that infinite dodge timing. So it's such an easy option. If they don't challenge you, great, you're just going to fly into the ground with the ball. If they do, then you flick it past them. So that's so smart by Fairy. But you have to give credit to where it's due to Endpoint. They got a good opportunity at the end of that game. The first demo landed for Virtuoso. Had he bumped K-Dop as well, I think they were scoring. So it was very close, but credit to K-Dop. That was not the only time in the game where he was able to avoid a bump that would have been catastrophic. Earlier on in the game, he got away from Metza as well. So 2 huge plays by K-Dop. Way to respond like a champion after a pretty disappointing game 2.
You know, K-Dop will immediately just started talking to himself between the games, just saying, okay, gotta be better this one, gotta be better. You'll know, he doesn't tend to deflect that sort of blame. Virtuoso and the rest of Endpoint will look to try and pull this back yet again as Metza almost found Fairy Peak. I think he actually might have slammed on the brakes towards the end. Didn't know where he was.
Yeah, it was Metza who just entered the ball, and I think he just landed on it. So he wasn't really sure what to make of that position. Just any touch is probably good enough, because the defense are really not expecting the player who just flew into the corner to now be there for the rebound touch as well. With Vitality leading, the pressure is immense on Endpoint. This is probably the point in the series where they realize, wait a minute, we're playing pretty well, guys. We can actually do this, but we're still trailing against Vitality, who are an extremely difficult team to beat, even on their bad days. It looks like the game 2 is just a blip for them. They're right back to the solid defense. That's well played by K-Dop again. But will Virtuoso get anything? He misses it, but that actually fakes the defense. Does bounce wide, and K-Dop playing for the challenges. That's still smart to go for just 50-50s in the back corner when he doesn't have any boost.
I feel like we're just one more step away as Virtuoso almost took out the entire team. A slight delay to caught 2 people jumping. It was only Fairy that didn't.
Oh, man.
And again, Endpoint are just so close to what they need.
Oh, that would have been beautiful. Triple mind game, but unfortunately for Endpoint, the shot wasn't on target. It deserved to be on target there after such a brilliant play.
That's the second one they've had now, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have to hit the back of the net, at least give it a chance to go in. So it's still very impressive to watch. Something that you so rarely see at this level, with ball chasing becoming more and more meta. Now Alpha 54 to the crossbar. K-Dop gets a bit too close for comfort. Has to back off. Now, bit of disruption from Endpoint. There was indecision on whose ball that was. Virtuoso was lined up for it, but Metza did have more boost than him. Luckily for them, they have only given away an attacking opportunity, which didn't look that good anyway.
Yeah, but there's still a little bit more chaos with them trying to find the rotation, as they now have to face down a little bit more offense. Virtuoso taken out, but he has got rid of the ball at least momentarily. Letting wave only as far as Alpha. He will catch it. What a good play this would be from Alpha if he could get the full length of that Fennec behind the ball. Instead it is K-Dop trying to follow this down. Letting wave again clears. A little bit nervy this time as Endpoint under a lot of defensive pressure. Can't afford for too many balls like this to be played out, because instead it can go from K-Dop back to Alpha. Virtuoso this time much more defensively sound. Takes it to the corner. Waits for the challenge and makes sure he gets the car behind it.
And he just barely got the boost in that play as well, which is pretty huge. Oh, but that one's been stolen. Vitality are trying to steal both the big boost pads in the corner. Back post is available. But it looks like Endpoint might have broken free. Vitality weren't ready to intercept on this side, which is a bit surprising, actually. And they've been hit on the counter. Metza denied by Alpha 54. What a save by Vitality, but it's still on their goal line. Chance of the game fell to Endpoint. They just couldn't get it across the line.
Well, it was K-Dop last game. This time it's Alpha. Just talked about how good he is on offense. Well, there was a bit of a show about how good he can be defensively. Now they avoid the demo one more time. Virtuoso forced to go to the right-hand side. Realizes he's got too much support. Pops all the way out. Here comes Metza. Goes straight down the middle. He's got 2 plays to commit. Endpoint will not want to give this up. Renault Vitality don't want to give them the choice. Metza, good jump from him. He's caught K-Dop out. Takes K-Dop out as well. Endpoint now have got the pressure, but Alpha, as always, the difference maker. He's managed to transition.
That blind jump by Fairy Peak over Virtuoso's demo is so sick. Just a little hop as soon as Vert arrives. You know, difficult to keep everything on download in these games when there's so much happening around you. The ball is absolutely flying around the field. Still, Fairy Peak had the whereabouts to know that Virtuoso is coming for him. Great work by Alpha, and look at that position at the near post. Almost impossible for Endpoint to score from. It's really painful, actually, because the ball is so close to that goal, but really, at the end of the day, no closer to resulting in a goal because Alpha is goal side. The solid hitbox, K'd up, near post, off the bar. Oh my, this game is just so tense for a 0-0.
And Metza knew he was beat if that was on target. Virtuoso goes in. Fairy Peak does block, but it's a good final swing here for Renault Vitality. Will they get one more chance? Fairy Peak pops the ball out. Alpha moves in, and he scuffs past the ball. I think Endpoint had that covered anyway, and we have overtime.
Endpoint game so close to sending us into a completely level series. Will they get another opportunity as good as the one they had? Relating Wave has to say goodbye to the first one. Now here come Vitality. K'd up. Has the air dribble, has the flip reset. Shut down by Metsunoris. Perfect timing on the challenge.
And last week it was, last regional, it was game 2 of the grand final where you saw that was probably it, that was the final major swing. Will Endpoint be able to come back if they end up losing this? Oh, will they even need to? It's off the crossbar. Endpoint again desperately close, but they need this game win.
Double
back to the middle. Here's Relating
Wave. He's hit the bar once again, the open net. Well, not really entirely open, but still a lot of the goal. Staring into the face. Surely now Metza will apply the finishing touch. What a heartbreaker it would have been if Endpoint lost it. Thank goodness for them. They found the last shot. Fairy Peak was so close to it, but he ends up matrixing the ball as Metsunoris, who is having a standout day in offense, sends one straight down the middle, too fast for Vitality to react to.
And I'll tell you what, if they needed a player to really start stepping up for them, Metza is picking the perfect time, because I don't think if that goes to 3-1, Endpoint would have been able to make the comeback. That was so crucial that they pull this series back to the 2 each. And in a series where or a game that they were so desperate to get a goal, Metsunoris has turned himself into the, unexpected hero on that regard.
It's crazy. This is some of the best Rocket League I've ever seen him play. And, relative, I'm not talking just relative to his past performances, because obviously he's getting better and better over his Rocket League career. I mean, relative to the top competition, Metsunoris just absolutely stand out at the moment. Some huge plays in offense, making Vitality look incredibly vulnerable at times. They just need to get the ball to him in the last third. Honestly, the rest of the team haven't had the most success with their accuracy, but Metza is just blasting shots on net.
And Metza's even faking players out, hunting down for Alpha. And he continues just to attack them over in their own corner. So Metza running a new wave of confidence today. Can they take that to be championship point in our 3rd regional?
Oh my.
As that is going to be Virtuoso dancing around a few. Now here comes a passing option. Fairy Peak knows he has to keep moving because he doesn't want to get bumped. Drops all the way down. Metza dives on through. Virtuoso has to keep this in offense because he doesn't want the team to get caught on their way back. Fairy to Alpha. Alpha wants to go the way, but Metza again shuts it down.
Yeah, great breaker rotation there by Metza. Relating Wave is at the back with almost no boost. There's no way he could have closed that distance, so Metza turns around and does it for him. Still, you've got to highlight how close Endpoint are coming to goals. Multiple goals in every single game here. That was another golden opportunity. Relating Wave so close to hitting that angle double touch as the demos came in. Well timed as always from Endpoint. Metza got signed to this team because he's a well-rounded player, defensive player, let Virtuoso go wild in attack, but turns out Metza was the secret that they were just they hadn't yet discovered in offense. He's the one who's been unleashed today.
I think it's something that a lot of teams are starting to figure out now. They've come in with a very set play style as Alpha.
Wow.
It's very unlucky to not see that one go in, but, it seems that we're seeing teams like Barca Esports as well realize that the whole team has to be rounded. It's not just feed the ball to Ronicky. We need everyone able to do this, and Metz is showing off exactly how important that can be. Now, one thing I do want to point out here, Johnny, is that whilst Virtuoso wasn't full bump mode to start off us off here. He is starting to trickle out more and more as this series goes along. That might be him just selling in to these grand final nerves across the midfield. Virtuoso would have liked that one to be a bit more to the right so he could follow it, but he's still going to do what he can as it is going to trickle off the post. And Relating Wave, you know, for as good as Metza's shooting has been, Relating Wave hasn't found much luck in the last few games.
Yeah, he just keeps getting the wrong side of the post, the wrong side of the crossbar. What a close shave again for Vitality, who are getting away with murder defensively. So many opportunities for Endpoint to shoot on their goal. And who would have thought that it would be Endpoint who are dictating the flow of the game? Now Alpha, 1v1 with Relating Wave. Virtuoso can't get back to help him. Who needs to help Relating Wave? He's got it all under control. Have to try again, Alpha 54. Make solo plays every other day, but right now Endpoint are playing oh so well. It's not that easy.
Certainly is not, but Alpha's going to keep on trying, going to keep on asking those questions. Doesn't drop off at any point. Doesn't let his confidence waver. Hit up against Relating Wave. Decides to leave it. Allows Relating Wave to take his shot. Here comes Virtuoso. It's a slow one. It's a slow shot like that one that can bait you in for the double commit. But Renault Vitality do well to avoid it. I'm not too sure what Virtuoso wanted here. I think he just wants the top 100 boost. Has got a hold of it. Now Endpoint making a couple of whiffs here. Virtuoso holding himself off. It's the backboard again. This time uncontested. Virtuoso with Relating Wave to work with. They want the pinch.
Wow.
Didn't quite get the timing for it. But Endpoint, each time on the transition, they're coming up with plans.
Endpoint have so much more cohesion at the moment than Vitality, who look a bit awkward. I'm starting to wonder, maybe the scoreline in and of itself is causing Vitality problems. They must have felt like they were the favorite in this one by a significant margin. And with how well they played against BDS earlier on today, they might have gone into this final with a bit too much confidence. I mean, I know most of us who were watching did. We thought that Vitality were going to destroy Endpoint. You know, Endpoint have had some impressive results, but nothing like of beating BDS 4-1. Endpoint have stepped it up again, and Vitality are struggling to, you know, get the control. They're struggling to find the driver's seat in this series. Endpoint have ripped it away from them in game 2.
It's going to be Fairy Peak on the follow. Good challenge yet again from Virtuoso. Still 0-0. Whilst Endpoint have looked good here. Haven't been good enough to pick themselves up that goal. K-Dop already up. Support is coming in for Renault Vitality. That support is Fairy Peak. They're going to keep bouncing it off this corner until they see a shot that they like. And this could very well be that.
Wow.
Over to Fairy Peak. K-Dop delivers it on a silver platter.
Beautiful pass by K-Dop. That was a bit too casual by Endpoint. Did they realize K-Dop was coming in from the far side? Maybe not, but you have to assume that someone on Vitality will be going as quickly as possible to every single ball that bounces out into the middle. 1-0 Vitality against the run of play. Steal the goal. Oh, and now Relating Wave's missed. Endpoint will feel like they have somewhat thrown away a game here with how close they've come to scoring multiple times. But Vitality don't care about that. They'll take it. 2-0. An assist from K-Dop and a goal from K-Dop. The difference makers in the matchup.
That is a very desperate play from Endpoint. Metza wants the midfield. I can't tell if he wanted to get it to Relating Wave. He just wanted to force the challenge. Either way, Relating Wave dived on in, and there was just nothing there for him. So, Renault Vitality managed to get this. And Johnny, whilst we keep talking about which way the momentum is swinging, this is turning into more of a series of opportunities and moments. Who can take the moments presented to them? This time around, it was Vitality.
Yeah, Endpoint are going to be complaining to the RLCS admins that the post was playing for Vitality, making this a 4v3, because really at the start of this game, they had a couple of glorious opportunities. We saw the double touch from Relating Wave hit the bar. Now, that's not an easy shot by any means, and he was pretty close to scoring it. But still, he could have scored that. I think if he was absolutely on form and feeling great about his shooting, he would have. I mean, this is it right here. He had to slow himself down in the approach, but it was scoreable. And the fact that it hit the bar flush as well. Yeah, the second one, you know, that post that's a nightmare. Those are the two big chances that Endpoint will look back on and think whether they should have probably done better with. Even if the first one doesn't go straight off the bar, if it hits the underside of the bar and bounces down onto the goal line and stays there, Endpoint probably score, because it would have been so hard for Vitality to clear. It's the fact that Relating Wave missed by just a little bit too much that made it unscorable for Endpoint.
So what has the coach managed to tell them in between matches to pick their heads up? Yes, they have now got to win 2 in a row against a Renault Vitality that are desperate to reclaim their throne as the kings of Europe, at least momentarily. Before we get to the European major coming up as Metza, good challenge from him, but a couple of bumps as well. Completely ruined the endpoint rotation until Virtuoso comes to help out. And Alpha almost cut straight across K-Dot there. Almost handing away opportunities. Can Endpoint return to the momentum that they had? Because as you mentioned, Johnny, they were the better team in the last one. They don't really need to change anything. They've just got to take the chances.
Yeah, they were the better team for about 4 minutes, and then Vitality started to get a lot of consistent touches on the ball, back to back to back. Now K-Dop's got an opportunity. Low boost for Metza in defense. He's going to get goal-sided 1 challenge, but where's the follow-up? There it is, relating wave with a good clear to the midfield. Yeah, this is a really interesting series still. I think this is going to prove to Endpoint that they can compete at this level. Oh, that's a miss from Virtuoso. Recovers well. They don't look as confident as they did it was right until Vitality scored in the last game. I think that's maybe ruined Endpoint's day a little bit because they were playing so well. They were creating so many chances, then they ended up behind anyway. But that happens against Vitality. It's going to happen at this level in grand finals like this. What a shot by K-Dop. Oh, it's off the bar. That would have been a beauty. Endpoint really can't say much about that if it goes in.
Oh, we were talking earlier on the pre-show, Johnny, about who would be the most impactful player. So far this series, it's been the Woodwork. Whoever can at least negotiate a deal with the Woodwork to help them out might be good as Alpha. Oh, he almost took advantage of Endpoint, who slowed down quite a bit. They are stuck in their own side. What? But somehow not in.
Wait.
Apparently, the Woodwork is determined for the spotlight.
Did Fairy Peak save that?
I honestly, he came close at the least.
He may have deflected that into the post. I'm not entirely sure. It looked like it. I mean, K-Dop was credited with a shot for that play, but the game will give you a shot if you hit the post most of the time. So it could have just been missing anyway. But it didn't look like Fairy Peak was helping it on its way in. I can tell you that much. Vitality maybe having a bit of fun with this now. I doubt it, but it's possible. These guys, they're going to be, I think, pretty disappointed with their performance in the grand final. No matter what happens from this point, they're that serious. They take they're that professional and expect such greatness from themselves. But they still do like to have some fun every now and then with each other, and that's one of the other reasons that I think this team will have longevity and continued success.
Alpha wants to follow. Endpoint doing a good job so far of not allowing him to get those follow-up challenges that Alpha likes to take. Here comes Metsunaris. Almost got K. I think he was just desperate for K-Dop to pre-jump that. Get him off the backboard and then have the follow-up shot coming from Relating Wave. But K-Dop's smart again. Doesn't let him have it. Virtuoso chases. Fairy Peak clears. These touches have got to be so good, otherwise this can happen. Fairy Peak looks for the top corner. Virtuoso happily sees that one away. He's got Metza to aim for if need be. And he's actually landed on it! And it's a complete mistouch that leads to a gift for Endpoint.
Well, well, well. If Vitality did end up saving their own shot at the other end of the field, they're definitely going to be pretty mad about it now, because that is one of the luckiest goals you're going to see all day. K-Dop's cleared, is going straight back into a pre-flipped Virtuoso, an already flipped Virtuoso. I'd say let's not pretend he had any intention of catching the ball at the end of the flip there. And that's exactly what Endpoint needed. A little bit of luck after all the post and crossbars in the last game.
Oh, this could
they almost got another one.
That's for the crossbar this time. Endpoint will want that second, though. They know Vitality, who've already been pressing quite a bit here, are about to come at them even faster and even more deadly than before. As Metza, that's not a great touch, and he's handed it to K-Dop.
Yeah, Metza panicking. The ball was pretty close to his goal, so he just knew he had to do something about it, but that's not the touch he needed. He had to get behind that ball, stay behind the ball, not hit it away from himself. But well played, K-Dop, once again, stepping up with a clutch play for his team.
That was almost a bit of a preview, actually, in the last game. Metza made that mistake during the heavy loss that Endpoint did get. Same one that comes back to bite him here. Same one that helps them lose a lead. But Metza, that was mega cheeky. Almost managed to just sit it still and just let the ball guide itself. 45 seconds on the clock. K-Dop A wall assisted infield. In comes Fairy Peak. He'll be unchallenged. A relating wave. He was already up for that one. He was not messing around. Now he's not going to mess around. Moving the ball to the left-hand side of the field. Virtuoso pops it again. Alpha comes in. And this is where he's at his most dangerous. I love that from Metza. Don't get the ball. Just make sure you hit Alpha.
Yeah, Metza just has to make sure that Alpha doesn't get a reset or a mind game on that play. Anything involving those would just be a disaster for the goalkeeper. But right behind him, as long as he flies toward the ball then at least he knows that Alpha has to move it out of the way before he gets there. Oh my goodness, that's off the bar.
That's off the post.
Now the post, everything.
Go on, K-Dop, hit the crossbar again. Why don't you? I do not know what is going on.
Oh,
Here comes Rating Wave, and that is blocked. We have yet another overtime. This ends up being done here. Endpoint will know that they force Renault Vitality to fight for these, but they want Champions Field. We want Champions Field. Will we get it? Fairy Peak over to Alpha. Alpha says no.
That'll do it. Sick pass. Fairy to Alpha. Oh, that's so well played. Alpha making the run already. Fairy Peak waits for the ball to just go over his right shoulder and then pops it into the middle. Perfectly struck. All Alpha had to do is double jump to get the finishing touch. And Vitality do win 4-2. Like I said earlier, I think Vitality are going to be not disappointed. Overall, they're going to be delighted with how today has gone. They've got the win. They have beaten BDS. Those two things in and of themselves, enough to say good job on the day. But, how they played in this game, little bit shaky at times. I think they're going to want to improve on that. But hey, for Endpoint, regardless of the outcome here, I think even if they got swept in the grand final, they would still be pretty happy with the run here because they proved to themselves that Spring Series top 3 was not a fluke. They've just made top 2 in the 3rd regional for EU.
Yeah, for Endpoint, we'll look at this series and say 1 or 2 plays. Maybe if the goals were a little bit wider and a little bit taller, this could have been a very different series. So yeah, they'll be very happy with this. Just need to make sure that they are ready to go when those opportunities come their way. But for today, Renault Vitality have returned to the top of the mountain. And to break down how they did it, it's Leafex.